Are we starting now? All right. My name is not Danny Mac. Legally, it's Dan Fowley. I thought it'd be good to do a documentary on the history of Pavones. Like everyone says, it's one of the top 10 waves in the world.
And it totally blew me away.
I invested whatever I had to carve that place out of the jungle.
He's a big dreamer.
Danny's a really dynamic person who changed the course of a country in a way.
They call it Dannyland.
Pavones.
Wow, what a spot. You know, the reason the story should be told is because there's so many myths of how Pavones started and who founded it and, you know, what's it all about and how good is it?
The man who would be king.
I was 7. We moved right into Pacific Beach in 1940. The first time I saw the ocean, I wanted to get into it. I started diving abalone when I was 12 years old. I made more money than my dad. He didn't like that very well. You got to think like a fish to be able to catch them. We'd sunk a couple of barrels out at Crystal Pier. It was a candy store. I'm a waterman, that's what I am.
Danny was a local folk hero. He was respected by his fellow watermen, known amongst the hardcore guys as being one of them.
When I grew up in San Diego, there was 50 surfers on the whole coast. I think we knew every one of them, from Tijuana Sloughs to Steamer Lane.
You felt like you were in on a secret that the rest of humanity didn't know.
You see each other coming up and down the coast and wave each other down, you know. Hey, how is it up there, you know?
All we'd have is a redwood board varnished.
Guys like Danny and his friends were the pioneers.
I shaped Pat Kern his first surfboard up on Ingram Street. I shaped like Mike Diffenderfer's first board. It was the octopus board.
He just got tagged as the godfather, kind of like. He had a rep that was just amazing.
The time that he came out of was just a time we'd all love to go back to as surfers.
I think it was in 1951. I went over to Hawaii. I was fascinated over Makaha. You had to make a board just for those big waves. I'd shape them right at Waikiki Beach. In 1954, I made the cover of Sports Illustrated. They had no surf contest.
He was, in his very heart and soul, a surfer. And when he found Pavones, he found a spiritual haven for himself.
For years, I wanted to buy a good surf spot. My daughter loved horses, my son loved surfing, and the other one, motorcycles. That's why I headed that direction. I wanted to see a new place. I sold everything off, had it all in cash, and I brought it to Costa Rica.
And when he landed, what he saw was a world-class left and no one there.
Well, there are only 35 families that lived in a stretch that was 20 miles long. The forest was emerald green. It had birds, parrots, monkeys. There's no way to get there except by boat. I cruised the bars and asked, who owns this property out here? His name was Cuyo Lobo. He had 250 acres there, and he had a kind of a Mickey Mouse sawmill and a perfect wave in the front. Wrote a compraventa right in the bar that night, and it's now called the Sawmill.
When he pioneered Pavones, the local people loved him because he was generous with them.
Thanks to Danny, we have connections with doctors. We got electricity. He brought a lot of help.
I treated them all like my family. I put everyone to work. I built all the roads, the bridges, the churches, the school, and I taught all those guys how to drive tractors, build houses. We did a lot of farming there.
We learned from him. Our nature can give us more than what we expect, like a beautiful wave.
He wanted somebody there to share that wave, be a part of history, in fact.
It was prior to Tavarua, prior to G-Land. Pavones was a very exclusive private club. He had to be invited by the patron.
I was totally amazed coming off that plane, getting picked up by a tractor, and it totally blew me away.
Not a whole bunch of people knew about it, so I felt really privileged at the time. It was an experience I'll never forget, you know.
He would make me laugh up and down that beach.
I can remember Button saying, gee, bro, that's the best wave I've ever been in.
I was doing backside 360s, frontside 360s. My time in Pavones is going to be in my heart forever.
The wave is so mechanical and so machine-made.
You can ride until you can't stand up, and the water's 75 degrees.
After a nice long ride, it was good to have the cantina to slide by and get a bottle of beer, run back up the beach, and surf back down. That was for my friends and myself. That was it.
There was this Danny world down there The players in that scene turned gnarly.
When he went to prison, nothing was the same.
His whole thing was bullshit and conspiracy. A lot of people took rides on him just to put him away.
I fought my case for 17 years, and they keep me out of the country because they know that it'll soon come to an end. The newspapers like to sensationalize the Danny Mac stigma. They could never mention me without saying ex-convict, narco-trafficante.
Everybody was sad and shocked for the accusation.
When he left, the poachers, the greed, the gringos were sucked into that Shangri-La.
All the land sharks moved in there.
The squatters, they pretty much Americans.
They're selling my property and getting rich.
There is trepidation and fear on the part of people who had taken his land, and I think that drama continues to unfold.
People always like him to come back so he can finish his dream.
His life is abstract and bizarre and violates all our sensibilities.
I'd like to tell the story so people understand what happened there, what really happened. I'd like to let somebody really see who I am.
The king of Pavones.
People refer to me as the King of Pavones.